Hi guys, welcome to another video. The purpose of this video is how to make a properly professional template. So hopefully I can give you some tips and tricks in this one. The reason being is I get a lot of people contact me from all over the world and they simply want to know how to make a template, So the purpose of this video is to kind of speed things up, I guess, allow you guys to make the template, send me the template, so we can get the orders into production, so you're not constantly chasing me and trying to find out how to do this with Skype chats and this sort of thing. So this is like the initial early stage of how to get one of our hair systems into production. This should save you a lot of time and a lot of chasing. So this is how you make a template yourself. You'll need cling film, some sellotape and a pen. A marker pen. Now there's two ways you can make it. You can either kind of so imagine this is you. You can either stretch a piece of cling film over your head and hold on to it with both hands while somebody stands behind you and puts layers and layers of tape across the top. Not everyone's got that kind of help, so this is how to make a template if you haven't got that help. So I'm going to show you that version first. So again, you still put the sheet of cling film over the top of your head. Make sure it comes down lower than your chin, and I'll explain why in a second. So just rip off a little bit like this. And you still pull down nice and tight, because the idea of making a template is that we get this perfect contour of the scalp, so that when we send the template off to the factory, it comes back fully customized to the shape of your head, the contour of your head, without any bumps, creases, that sort of thing. Now if you're making your own template, this is what I advise you to do, because you're going to need your hands free in a second. So what I do is tie a little knot under your chin like this, simply so you haven't got to be holding on to those two pieces like that, and then that's perfectly flat. So the next thing to do, and there's a couple of things to be aware of here, is so on this actual plastic mannequin I've marked out quite crudely the typical male pattern baldness areas. So I mean, you've got this blue line here kind of represents the hairline, all this glandular hair is here where the blue stripes are. So this is the bald area on top. Now the first thing I want to sort of explain to you is when you're doing the angle of the hairline, it's so common for people to just draw a line too straight all across there, and it just doesn't look natural. And people say, well, how do I know which angle, what hairline angle to actually draw? So the first place you start is these side temporal areas here. Now on some guys, when they start losing their hair, they don't just lose their hair from here, it starts to kind of recede back from the sides as well. So this is the first place you start. If your hairline is kind of quite forward, which it is with the, many guys, especially younger guys, then you can afford to have not a straight line, but a gentle curve into this temple recession here, because you've got this quite far forward, so you get away with quite what people call a straightish hairline. If this bit is kind of receded to here, which it does on a lot of guys, then the rule is you simply just make this higher here. So instead of having the hairline angle go across like that, you kind of have to have it go sort of inwards, concave almost, to this point here. So let me show you how to draw. So you start from the front. Now the front of the hairline here, this is another mistake people make. They always put their hairline too far forward. To work out where exactly this central bit needs to start, you just stand in the mirror and just wrinkle up your forehead like that, wrinkle it up, and where the wrinkles stop, that is where the edge of the lace, the front of the hairline, starts. So if you've got quite a forward temple area here, you just start doing a very sort of gentle sweep into that side there, and then the same on that side there, and then you just simply follow. Now obviously, I'm doing this over a mannequin, so it's a lot easier. I can see exactly what I'm doing. If you're doing this yourself, as well as tie the cling film underneath your chin, what the other thing you'd need to do is you'd need to sort of hold a pen in this hand, hold a mirror in this hand. You look into a mirror and you try and just kind of do everything using 2 mirrors basically. So, but you know, if you've got help, great, and someone can stand behind you and do all this for you. If not, this is how you do it yourself, starting with the tying it under your chin. So you've drawn an area. Now this angle of hairline is quite realistic, considering that these temples are quite forward. Now let's just say that your glandular hair at the sides has actually come back to this secondary blue line. That means our temporal recession point is there. So if that's the case, you would do a hairline which is a little bit more like that. Just recede it in a little, because that being slightly higher will look far more natural with a temporal recession back to here. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides just to show you the two sort of angles of template. So again, I'm going to put the recession in on that side, and then I'm just going to simply do that same sort of angle around there. Then once you've kind of drawn out the whichever angle of hairline you've got, the next thing you do is take sellotape, and of course you do this in front of a mirror as well. Just find the start of the tape, and then you've got to put layers of sellotape over the top of the cling film, like so. Not too tight, I haven't got to really stretch it over, but the idea is to crisscross the tape. So that's that side done. Press the tape down. Then we'll go the long ways across the top. And of course this is a bit trickier doing it on your own, but not impossible. The main thing is that you've got that cling film quite tightly tied underneath your chin to make sure that this stays really sort of tight to your head. So the cling film has to be tight, but the sellotape just needs to be kind of layered over the top, not necessarily pulling it too tight. And then I'll do one last layer of tape, so 3 layers all together. So first one going that way, then one going that way, and then the final one going that way. And this is the final one that I'm doing now. Like so that's that. Then the final thing to do is to mark out the center of the template. So the center of the template needs to be deadly in line with your nose. So on this particular mannequin, we'll just do a center point like that. Now of course, if you have got a receding hairline, I'm just going to go over these to make them a little bit more prominent. And the other thing I want to touch on is grey percentage. So obviously with the hair samples you'd send me, some people won't need any grey added to their hair system. Some of course will. Now the one thing I need you to do, if you have got a grey percentage, is, so with a custom system you don't have to have say 5% or 10% all the way over. We can select areas, different areas of the system to put different percentages of grey blend in. So for a lot of guys, they do tend to have a lot of more grey, let's say, on this kind of side temple area. So for example, they might be 40% grey there, they might be 10% grey, but that doesn't mean you've got to have the same percentage all the way over. So what I need you to mark on your template, if you do have grey requirement, is to do a little semicircle there, a little one there, same on the other side. Of course, these semicircles, the key thing is they need to line up with the grey percentage. And then one at the back. And of course, when you send me a template, it's going to have all these different semicircles. And what I'll do is decide how much grey you want in that semicircle. So the hair in this area of the system will sit up against. So we've got 40% grey there, we'll have 40% grey in that area, and that will blend up and match nicely with that one. You might only have 10% grey there, so we'll have 10% in that semicircle, which will match up with that. So the overall look will be a very nicely well blended hair system when it comes to grey. And then of course we can decide how much grey to put through the middle. But that's only if you've got grey. So it's very important that you put these semicircles on the template before you send it to me. And more importantly, I guess, send a picture before you send me the template. So then what I need you to do after this is obviously take the whole template off. Like this. I just need you to trim around those blue lines that we've drawn. So don't just send me the template looking like this. I'll need you to just, we'll take the non-receded hairline angle first. So you just cut it all the way around like this. Okay, and then very importantly, what I need you to do is pop the template back on your head, lining up that blue line with the centre of your nose. And before you send me the template, I would need you to take a photograph of the front of it, like that, the side of it, the back, and one on top, just because, and then WhatsApp me those pictures or Skype me those pictures. That just allows me to see that you've done the hairline angle correctly in relation to your glandular hair here. You know, whether it's coming down too far here at the sides, I can just decide and work out all those issues before you send me the template. Because the idea is to get the perfect hair system, we have to have the perfect template. Okay, so with the template made, we'll put that to one side. And I just want to touch on hair samples now. So the amount of hair samples to send me. It's important that the length of the hair samples that you give me is at least 1 inch. It has to be at least 1 inch in length. Simply because when we send it off to the factory, we need to check if there's any wave or bend in the hair. It helps to work out the texture correctly if we've got at least 1 inch. Some people tend to just shave the side of their hair and send us a big kind of pile of shavings ultimately. And when you kind of group all those together, the hair colour in particular, it actually does look a little bit more darker, and so you don't get a perfect colour match. So it needs to be at least 1 inch in length. And also the amount of hair that you send me. I mean, I have had in the past, you know, just like a few strands like this through the post, which is kind of cute, but it's not actually enough hair for the factory to accurately work out the colour. So, I mean, I would say a good amount to send me, just as an example. I mean, if you can get this length, even better, but obviously most people don't have that much length around the back and sides. They tend to keep it quite short. But if you can get together a lock of hair like that, it's enough to work out the texture, all the different colours that are running through it, the different percentages of browns that are in there. The factory can pick that out and come up with a very, very perfect match.